Today, I'll start with the story Old Man at the Bridge, written by Ernest Hemingway. He was an American journalist, novelist, and short story writer. The story is based on a true incident witnessed by him when he was a war correspondent covering the Spanish Civil War. This Spanish Civil War forms the background of the story. Before I move on to explain you the story, let me tell you about the Spanish Civil War. In July 1936, the Spanish army, inspired by General Franco, started the Spanish Civil War by rebelling against the country's democratically elected republic. Within days of the uprising, both the republic and the nationalists called for foreign military aid. France pledged to support the Spanish Republic but soon decided not to intervene. Franco called upon Nazi Germany and fascist Italy for aid. Some 5,000 German Air Force personnel served for 3 years of the conflict for coordinated ground attacks against Republicans. Spain became a military laboratory to test the latest weapon under battlefield condition. Italy and Germany continued to supply Franco's forces while Soviet Union provided war material to the Republic. About 5 lakh people lost their lives in the conflict. The war resulted in several Spanish people being displaced. Many fled areas of violence for safe refuge elsewhere. Only a few countries like Mexico and Dominican Republic helped the refugees. When the Spanish Civil War ended in 1939 with General Franco's victory, some 5 lakh Spanish Republicans escaped to France and were placed in camps. Again in the year 1940, Germany defeated France and 15,000 Spanish Republicans were conscripted by Nazi authorities to Germany, where they either ended up in camps or in prison and ultimately died. Now, this is just for your information. Questions do not come from this portion. It's the history portion, and questions do not come from here. You don't need to learn. It's just for your information. Themes. The story is based on 2 themes. First, pointlessness of war or uselessness of war. War means death and destruction, and basically it's the common people who are not at all involved in any kind of politics, is not involved in the war, who lose their lives. Here we come across an old man who has walked a long distance and is unable to walk any further towards his safety, who will meet with his inevitable death, showing us the casualties of war. So, without any bloodshed, the author has portrayed how useless war is in our lives. It also highlights the theme of compassion. The theme of compassion is reflected through the narrator or the author himself. The author is a friend in need of the old man. He listens to the inner conflict, the guilt consciousness of the old man very patiently, and also requests the old man to move towards safety. Though the old man is not able to do so, but he goes on requesting him till the end. We end the story with the old man's concerns about his animals, which we'll study later on, and the author's concern about the old man. Let me tell you the plot of the story in points. First, the narrator, a soldier or the war correspondent, meets an old man at the pontoon bridge across the Ebro River. People were crossing the bridge of the Ebro River, and that is where the narrator meets the old man. The old man sitting by the road is too tired to move any further. He has walked a long distance from his native town and is unable to walk any further once again because he is an old man. The narrator asks the old man his whereabouts, so where he comes from, what he was doing, and all other details the narrator asks. The old man tells the narrator that he belongs to San Carlos and had to leave the town and his animals because of the artillery fire by the enemy. Because of the war, he was forced to leave his native town. He was not willing to do so. The narrator tells the old man to walk up the road and catch a ride on a truck to Barcelona. That was a safe place, and that is why the narrator requests the old man to move towards safety. The old man thanks the narrator but expresses his concern for the fate of his animals, a cat, 2 goats, and 4 pair of pigeons. He suffers of guilt consciousness that he was forced to leave his animals who were rather helpless in this condition. And when he was given the responsibility, when he had taken up the responsibility of his animals, he was not supposed to leave them in this war situation alone back in the native town, and he denies to move towards safety without them. The old man tries to get up and walk but is too tired and sinks back down. So he is unable to walk any further. First, he is tired, and second, he is also suffering of guilt. The narrator moves on, leaving the old man at the bridge waiting for his impending death, because he knows the enemy army will be coming very soon, and if the old man, who just denies to walk any further, will soon meet with his death, inevitable death. I'll explain you the story in my next video. If you have any doubt regarding this portion, please use the comment section.